What do you expect to be paid in March if you complete the cleanup jobs? How much more do you have coming to you?
About 30,000.
And does that count the 4,000 of reoccurring revenue that you'll
That
also?
would include the reoccurring, yes.
So let's just add this up for fun. So you're exactly at $100,000 earned if you go the rest of this year and don't add on another single client.
That's crazy.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Stay at Home Bookkeeper Academy podcast. We empower busy moms and aspiring entrepreneurs to start a thriving bookkeeping business from home with practical tips, expert interviews, and real life success stories.
So, well, let's just dive right in. I guess I just want to kind of get started with learning a little bit more about your why and the reason why you wanted to start a bookkeeping business and join the academy in the first place.
Okay. Well, I didn't know I wanted to join the Bookkeeper Academy at first. I was actually kind of in a transition period with my personal life. My kids were all growing up and I had a lot of time by myself. And I was kind of just on autopilot through life. I like really just, I don't know, you get kind of stuck, right? And you just do what you've always done. And one evening, everybody was gone, which was typical. And I decided I wanted to look for something for myself to just kind of bring in a little bit of extra money. So I just did some research. And because there wasn't a lot of, I didn't need to be a CPA or a lot of background needed to do bookkeeping, I felt like I could learn it.
Yeah.
So I found your group and, did actually kind of did the slow pace. I did the do it yourself
Okay.
after I got your book. Did the do it yourself for a couple months and realized that wasn't really working the way I wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
So I joined the academy and I haven't really looked back since.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed it. So
Yeah, that's awesome. So, can you speak to a little bit about what your background is? I know you said you decided to do this because you didn't need the background to be successful. So, what is your background and your experience that you have had in your professional life so far?
well, I've had 30 years of customer service background, data entry, fraud, collections. So most of it's all been data entry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of leadership roles through the years. And then I decided to step away from all of that and stay home with my youngest two kids. And then once my youngest started kindergarten, I decided to work with my husband at the construction company, refrigeration company that he was working at. And I had been there for 10 years before I started. I think I joined the academy in August.
Mm-hmm.
So truly, but even in the construction company, it was all manager stuff. It was all office dispatching, invoicing. It wasn't nothing with bookkeeping whatsoever.
Yeah.
So the bookkeeping part was 100% all new.
Mm-hmm.
But usually if I determine myself to do something and to learn something, I'll have bumps and bruises, but I'm a doer and I'm a learner. So I knew it would be something I could do.
Awesome. Okay. And so, what was the difference for you in doing the DIY course versus being in the academy? How has that impacted your success?
I think there's nothing wrong with the do it yourself if you're 100% self-motivated or if you have some background in the field. But not having any knowledge and not really knowing how to run a business whatsoever, all of that is what the academy's been able to give. And a lot of it too is just learning from other people's experiences, hearing other people. A lot of it isn't something you experience yourself. It's like, oh, I do have an issue with that. Let me listen a little bit more, or dive in and figure out what they're doing that's working for them.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I love that. Is there anyone in particular that you've kind of been watching or modeling more so than others in the academy?
I don't think there's anyone in particular. I think you have some good mentors in Casey and Vanessa. I know Tracy is fairly new. But those are usually the mentors that, you know, we see on a regular basis. But truly it was a combination of hearing other people's stories through the years, you know, and it's not like it was just 2022, you know, or 2021. It's, you know, years of people being in the academy and being successful, and some people taking it truly to the next level. So that's truly like, if they can do that, then why can't I? So,
Right.
but there's no one individual.
Okay, got it. I love that. So kind of just learning from everything and learning from everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you started in August, like you said, August 12th. I have that memorized. And I would love for you to kind of share what your journey was like. I know that a lot has happened in 6 months. So if you can think back when you first started, what that whole journey, that whole process has been like for you, that would be awesome.
Well, before I started, I did have one client that was cleanup only. So
Okay.
I got that client like 2 weeks before I joined the academy, and realized that's when I really realized I needed the academy. So I just had that one client. I think I did 2021 back work for him, but he didn't want to sign. So got that done through August. And I really, to be honest with you, wasn't putting in, it was really hard because I was still working a full-time job and I still have 2 kids at home. But I wasn't putting in the hours for my business that I should have been. It's really easy to get kind of lazy, right? And like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and something else comes, right? So being able to recognize that and realize that the business isn't just going to come to you. You've got to put in the work. You've got to, you know, do the marketing. May not be the marketing you want to do, but it still has to be done. You know, you still got to be posting. You still got to be being on the calls. So it was probably about a month and a half before I really decided that I was going to throw myself into the business. And I did. And since then, so that was probably, I want to say, at the end of September, beginning of October, my backwork client signed. And then I got another client that October. So I had 2 clients. And then in November, my first client signed on his other business. So I had 3 clients. One I signed in October was all 2022 backwork because he was new to QBO. So we, you know, I set him up. That was a big journey, learning how to set everything up in his chart of accounts and, you know, all of that. And then December hit and I had a ton of proposals. I had a ton of sales calls coming. It was like everyone had some idle time in December, and I landed my first big client, which is an electrical contractor, over $2,000 a month. And that's my big back work, 2021 and 2022. But I don't even honestly at this point even know what it totals 100%. It's around $32,000 of back work.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then I got a small payroll client, which I was pretty appreciative because I'd never done payroll and it was new and I like learning things new. So we ran our first payroll in January through Gusto. So I got certified with Gusto.
Nice.
And my goal for 2022 was to get certified in QBO. So I was able to do that as well. Thank you. Just, you know, setting those little goals, right? Like the little things that, you know, we want to do for ourselves. And it wasn't because it was needed. It was because it's something I wanted to do for myself.
Yeah.
And then I signed 2 clients in February. One of them is for 3 years of back work.
Awesome.
I did waive 1 year of back work because he's a real estate broker. So he is hooking me up with some contacts. So kind of gave him 2020 for the future prospects, which I think will in turn saved me for the time, and actually hasn't taken much time at all for his 2020. So I think I'm going to win on that one.
Awesome.
So, but currently I'm, sitting at over 4K a month and still have about $30,000 in back work to be paid for between all my clients. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. And when do you think you'll be able to be paid for all of that, over the next couple months, or?
Yeah. So the 2021, the big one, I will have done by the end of the week. So he'll pay me the other half by the end of the week, and then I'll start on his 2022 books. The other one, I plan to have, now that I've quit my job and have time to do it, I plan to have that one done in about 3 weeks.
Awesome.
So I'm looking at the end of March to be sitting pretty comfortable.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so you made me think of a couple of questions. You mentioned like learning payroll and being able to take on a payroll client, even though you hadn't done it before. So how has that process been for you with, having the academy there as like a, resource or safety net?
Actually, the greatest thing for the academy is I used some of the resources that were on the website. Like there was a Gusto checklist that someone had posted that I was able to find and didn't have to generate for myself. Somebody also posted like all the information for the state of Ohio for them to get registered, like all of those links, someone had posted that. So, when you go and spend a little time and look in the group versus just asking questions, there's so much information out there. So I used all of that information. It took longer to get him onboarded through Gusto, mainly because he was dragging his feet for the state of Ohio stuff.
Yeah.
Which was nothing I could do. But now we have a good system, and I mean, he has 7 people on payroll. It's 2 weeks, you hit a button, approve it, and it runs.
Nice.
And it's $133 a month. It truly takes 20 minutes a month.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, it's nice when you can do those extra things too. And then you've got your foot in the door. So down the line, he may, upgrade and add on bookkeeping or something else.
That'll be my question for him when we have our next meeting.
Yeah.
I'm already working it.
I love it. I love it.
Already working it, Tiffany.
Yes, good. Got that all figured out. So can we talk a little bit more specifically about your earnings and like the dollar amounts that you've gotten in each of your prospective months? How did that work out for you?
So my first 2 months was roughly $1,000 a month.
Okay.
My third month was I had a cleanup in that month. So my third month, which was October, was roughly $5,000 that month.
Okay.
And then I think for November it was about 3. And then December was a big month for me. December was about 7 or 8.
Okay.
And January, because I got paid for my half of 2021, January was about I want to say $9,000,
Okay.
and February is about 7.
Okay. So you're exactly at $100,000 earned if you go the rest of this year and don't add on another single client.
I didn't even figure any of that out, because that's almost double what I was making at my 9-to-5 job.
That's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
putting it in perspective, the security of the 9-to-5 job is a little intimidating, right? You feel that security of having that every day. But the potential of, and truly I was working from 4 until 9:30, 3 to 4 times a week. And then I would work Saturday and Sunday, 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
So, give or take, those hours, you're talking 20 hours a week that I was able to put in. So being able to put in more, imagine what I'm going to be able to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's why I'm always so excited when people are going to quit their jobs, even ahead of schedule, because you've got that huge amount of time that you were spending mental energy, but also your time on this other job. It takes away from your business. So now that you don't have to worry about that, you're right.
Right. And I felt like I was missing a lot of networking opportunities that
Mhm.
happened during the day, the Chamber of Commerce events. And, I couldn't make those meetings because of my other job. So now I feel like, I can go in and give 100% at those networking events. And, if I have an evening networking event, I'm not stressed because I'm going to be exhausted, or I'm
Mhm.
not going to have to come back and do a bunch of client work, because I already got it done for the day.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
um, definitely been a big sigh of relief, to be honest with you.
Mhm. Yeah, awesome. I love that. So how long does it typically take you to do your just regular monthly clients, not counting cleanup jobs, but just the regular clients you have?
Not very long. Um, I would probably say, and my biggest client is kind of hard to say because I haven't really been able to do his monthly.
Mhm.
Um, I'm still categorizing his things, but I haven't really been able to really reconcile all his stuff. But I would say for just client work on a monthly maybe 20 hours.
Okay.
I mean, that I think is a little high, but
Mhm.
because I don't know exactly the monthly stuff of my big client, I'm
Yeah.
guessing a little bit longer for him.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. That's still really good. And I'm
Yeah.
sure over time, as you have these clients, you'll be able to shave some time off and get
hmm
it back down as well. Do you feel confident about that?
Yeah. Once you know some of your clients, you set up the rules so you're not going in and having to do everything every month. It'll be a lot easier and quicker.
That's exciting. Okay. So then also your mindset. I know we've had conversations about this in the past too, but I'm definitely curious and excited about you sharing your story and your journey about like how working on your mindset has helped you with your business and, what changes have you felt for yourself as you've kind of shifted from being an employee to being a business owner?
Well, I think the mindset at the beginning is just naturally you're overwhelmed. There's so much information to learn, and you want to learn it all, and you want to start getting clients as soon as you can, and you're still trying to learn it all. And you have this game plan where you're going to learn everything, and then you're going to get clients. And really, the best way to learn anything is getting the clients, right? Is doing the work. So, at the beginning, I was very overwhelmed and discouraged. Like I said, I felt like it took me forever listening to other people's stories. I was comparing when I shouldn't have, which is, I'm sure everyone does a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I was comparing myself with other people's stories and just getting discouraged. And then that's when I sat down and really thought about, okay, I'm automatically negative, but I'm not putting in the time that it's going to take to make myself be successful. So I had to just kind of step back. I think you and I had a conversation on one of the Zoom calls, and it was truly just about, you know, it's okay to be overwhelmed. It's okay to feel that way, but you got to move past it. So something I kind of did to help me remind myself of the good things is I started a journal in the evenings, and it's like a 5-year journal, and it's just like 3 or 4 lines. Actually, I think it's 5 lines for each day of the year. And I just, before I go to bed, I write something I'm grateful for.
I love
So
that.
yeah, I had a conversation with one of my clients late last night, and he's like, I'm just happy what you're able to do for me. Right.
Mhm.
So that was one of the things I put in my journal. I'm grateful to have clients that see my value and
Yeah.
appreciate what I can do.
Hmm.
So, and some days I was grateful because my printer printed. Other day, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's not those big things.
Hmm.
Um, I'm grateful, my husband supported me when I was ready to have a breakdown, or I was going to throw my computer because it wasn't working,
Hmm.
right? He was able to talk me down from it. So
Hmm.
all of those things and just being grateful and having the gratitude um, has really changed my mindset, you
That's
know.
awesome.
not everyone can, say, hey, I have a mentor group that if I'm struggling, I can go and they can answer my question.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
and, so sometimes it's just being grateful for, people on the other end of the phone.
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of changed my mindset and really put me back into the focusing on what I wanted for myself and for my business.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And it's just rewiring your brain to look for the positives. Sometimes as business owners too, you're always striving for the next goal, to be better, do better, have more clients, make more money, things like
Mhm.
that. So you do kind of get pulled into the negative thinking and critiquing yourself and those kinds of things. So great practice to have that in place from this beginning stage of your business. So I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you had mentioned too to me, I know on a call at one point that you felt like your confidence in yourself and just in general went up. Is that true?
100%. I feel like I even carry myself with a little bit more confidence because I'm doing something for myself. I am continuing to learn. I'm continuing to use my brain. I know that sounds absolutely insane, but the older we get, how important that is.
Mm-hmm.
And, proud of myself for being able to learn something completely new out of my comfort zone. Um, you know, I'm a person that likes to be in the back. I'll do all the work, but don't want any recognition for it. I don't want people to see me for it. So like the BNI groups and the Chamber of Commerce is completely out of my, all the networking stuff is completely out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to go and actually feel like I know what I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
has really boosted my confidence. And, I'm not scared. I'm not, I don't know. It just does something for you when you put the effort into you and your business.
Mm-hmm.
And as a mother, right, we get into doing everything for everybody else. It's just natural for us, just the way we are. And it's the way so getting out of that and being like, look, this is about me right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, but it's also teaching my kids that you've got to do that for yourself. You've got to and continue learning. Like no matter what, you're never going to know it all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think there's been a couple times my clients have stumped you. You've been doing it for years, right? So you're never going to learn it all. There's always going to be those things that are going to come up. So,
Yeah.
But knowing that I can, look at a client and say, hey, I don't know, but let me get with my mentor and they'll walk me through exactly how to do it. Helps your confidence too, because you have support from others.
And how do your clients and your potential clients respond when you give them that as an answer?
Actually, at first you kind of don't want to say that, right? You think you want to know everything. But they're so receptive to the fact that you're not just going to do something and mess it all up, and that you have the support. Everyone in life had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
In every business. And I think knowing when to say, let me check with my mentor. And it's good because, I think it shows maturity, right? It shows the client that you're mature enough to admit that I can't figure this one out.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been really receptive. Never once has anyone said a word. I mean, my big client, I had a major issue with some unapplied funds.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, just let me, give me a couple days to get with my mentor and see how she wants me to handle it, what she thinks we should do. And he's like, that's perfect.
Awesome.
So they are receptive, even though you don't think they will be.
Yeah, I love that. Have you gotten in terms of marketing and working with clients, have you gotten very many people that have asked you, what's your background? What do you have a degree in this? Do people even ask you that?
Not one person has ever asked me. They've asked me what kind of, I guess, let me rephrase that. The CPAs that I've talked to have kind of asked, you know, like what my background is. And, you know, I just tell them the same thing I tell my clients if they were to ever ask, you know, and I put this on my website as well. I have over 30 years of customer service experience. You know, I've been in office for years and I don't go into much detail outside of that. And they usually don't ask questions, you know. But so for me, that's why it was important for me to get certified, right? Because I needed to feel like I could say that I've done the training for QuickBooks. I feel comfortable in doing, you know, most of the stuff that's on there. But for those people, that's the only, just in case someone really, but none of my clients, none of them. My big client didn't ask. After I gave them the review of their books, they're like, let's go. I mean, no hesitation.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. So speaking of the clients too, can you share a little bit about what marketing has worked for you and what you enjoy, but also, you know, just what's been the best path for you?
So my first client, I mean, I only have 7 clients, so it's pretty easy to break it down. I had one client from my BNI group, which is my payroll client, and that client truly paid for my BNI fees. So it was like, you know, easy. I've had 3 clients come from friends and family, and 2 come from Facebook. One was a friend, it was kind of a referral. We have mutual friends, but we don't, you know, we don't hang out or anything, but we have mutual friends. And he kept seeing my post. And actually today, or not today, but I found him from 2020, $44,000 in fraud charges that he was unaware of.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. From 2020.
Nice job.
Thanks. So, and then one I posted in like a hockey mom group.
Love that.
Yeah. And, you know, he contacted me in September, wasn't ready to sign. And then of course, in January, started freaking out. And, you know, and we signed in February. Actually, the day I put in my job notice, I signed him as a client. So that was a perfect thing to do. And I did join the Chamber of Commerce in my town. I've gone to a couple, and I plan to go to more because it was a lot of fun, networking events for realtors and mortgage brokers and contractors. They do these networking events and there's all kinds of people. And I went to one last week, got 2 or 3 leads. So working on those this week. But really, I think the in-person networking is better. They can see a face. Once you get face-to-face with them, it seems to be better.
The trust factor goes up a lot, so it's easier to get them to sign on quicker.
Yes.
Yeah, I always say that most people are very intimidated by doing the networking groups, but it is the quickest and easiest way to get clients, I think.
Well, and I think it's too, like I posted in the group today about saving or finding those fraudulent charges. So I had a question about it. And, you know, one of the girls was like, that's going to be my next commercial for my BNI meeting next week. I was like, exactly, because that's how I used it today. Right.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, learning from those. And I think that's probably something we could all do better at, is sharing those little wins like that so that other people can use them to, you know, for their whys, right? This is why this is the value I give. So I think that is, you know, we're also worried about the number of clients when we should be worried about how we're helping our clients.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. And what impact that you can make. And also every interaction that you have with a potential client or a current client, you have to put your marketing goggles on too. And know that even though you're there to help them, it's also something that could help you grow your business. The results that you give them, basically.
Right.
Yeah. I love that.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other skills that you feel like you've developed that you're kind of excited about since you became a business owner and jumped into the
The
academy?
one thing that I've always struggled with on a personal level is goals and setting goals and obtaining the goals. I've never been a person to really even set goals. I think we all go through life with wanting to lose weight or, you know, save this amount of money. I've never really focused on goals. And my business has given me that. I have a big calendar, like a notebook calendar that I write my goals in every month. So for instance, my goals for 2023 are to be certified in the advanced level on QBO.
Love
and
that.
to learn AR and accounts payable. So those are my, those are my goals. So I always try to not only set a financial goal, but also try to set a learning goal. And because I don't want to get lost in my client's work, I want to continue to grow and develop so that I can continue to grow and develop, right? Like,
Yeah.
we don't, because then if not, then we'll just be on autopilot like I was at my other job. And I don't want to be that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So what are your goals for your business this year? What's that annual revenue amount that you're going to hope to get to, or monthly amount?
My monthly amount I'd like to see is by the end of the year, I'd like to be at 8,000. I'd like to double what I'm currently at. Yeah, so that, I have a couple, my grocery store client actually has another grocery store, so he'll be hopefully signing up that one. Hopefully by the end of April is what our goal is. And then, I have a couple other kind of in the works, a couple big ones, that if I can, land one or two of those, then I will be taking a breath and probably kind of step back on marketing, to be honest with you. Because I think I'll be at the point where I'm looking for 3 to 4 clients. And then after that, I think it's going to be where I will need to grow and actually grow, and maybe subcontract some of the stuff out at that point.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but I'm also trying to get some systems in place, like really good onboarding system, good systems for, reminders, processing, onboarding, all of that stuff that we get lost in.
Yeah.
So that is my other goal. And that way, if I do have to hire someone, everything's already in place for them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So those are my big goals, is truly 8K a month, getting systems in place that will work for not just me, but for everybody else, if, when I grow. And then also to become certified in QuickBooks Advanced and to be comfortable with AR and AP.
I love that. I love it. That's awesome. Do you see yourself in like 2 to 3 years down the line having like multiple like full-time team members? Have you thought that far ahead yet?
I have not. That's a little scary for me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you will probably understand that. That's a big commitment, and I'm not sure. I'm just not sure yet. I'm just being 100, I just don't know where to go. So that'll be something that, I think once I get those 3 to 4 more clients that I'll really be focusing on for 2024.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Well, I've got you on that. So if you decide to go down that path and hire a full-time team member, we can help you get there and still have the time freedom and the financial freedom that you're looking for. So recently, I just got back a few days ago from going to Jamaica with Kaylee Douglas. And I've interacted with her much in the group. She's been in there for about a little over 3 years now. And she has a couple of full-time employees, and we've been helping her scale her business, create systems and processes. She was able to go to Jamaica with me last week to talk all business development. We literally sat on the beach, had our little fruit.
Oh, rough life, Tiffany.
I know. Well, you can be next. You can come with me next. And we can talk about how to scale this up for you without the wheels falling off, right? And like
Right.
giving you the freedom that you want, but the security that you need financially as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, and plan that all out and, brainstorm and map it out. Because this is where it does get really unique. Like in the beginning in the academy, it basically is the same process for everyone to get this going, get it off the ground, right? But then as you scale it, the businesses start to get a little bit more customized. How do you want to lead your team? What clients do you want to go after specifically? There's a lot of different variations. So it's something we could work together to map out for you at that
And that
time.
is one thing that I find very interesting,
Mm-hmm.
because none of my clients are the same.
Mm-hmm.
None of them.
Yeah.
And it, not that I'm going to turn somebody away,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to be a pro in one type of client, right? Like I'm not sure what client that is yet, even though I am marketing towards trades and contractors,
Mm-hmm.
because I understand the project tracking and or location tracking, whichever, which
Mm-hmm.
I actually did my real estate broker. I did get him started on the location tracking.
Mm-hmm.
So that's more of what the clients that I'd like to go after. But, I have anywhere from a grocery store to a blind guy to a security training guy. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't have any two clients the same.
Yeah.
And I think, knowing that, it's going to obviously help me in learning a lot of different factors. So I don't think anything's wrong with it from the beginning.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
but I really would like, to have really a niche in one type of client so I can master that niche, right? If that makes
Yeah.
any sense.
Yeah, for sure. And you can streamline, the whole operations of your company if you've got, very similar businesses or at least, a ton of the same. And then if you do multiple niches, you can have like one full-time employee working with just one niche and
Right.
streamline it. But when you first start out, you don't know what you're going to like. So I think it's great that you've kind of dabbled in a lot of different industries and, don't rush picking a niche because it'll pick you. That's what I
Yeah.
think. You'll just,
And
you'll just,
actually, I started, like I said, with the contractors and tradesmen, just because that's what I've been in the last 10 years. So I can speak their language. But in all actuality, I really think I like the real estate side. So those can go hand in hand a little bit, because a lot of real estate companies and they do a lot of construction kind of stuff because they, flip
yeah,
houses.
right. A lot
Um,
of natural referrals that you can
yeah,
get to. Mhm.
yeah. So, but yeah, I think, I was talking to another member, Sylvia, in the group, and her and I were talking about different kind of clients we have and ones that we don't have yet that we would like to get before we leave, before our time up is in the academy.
Mhm.
Like I don't have an e-commerce, and I know there's a little bit difference for those clients and some of the others.
Mhm.
I just got my first client that uses PayPal. You know what I mean? So those type of things that are a little bit more, are a little different, I
Mhm.
think are important to try to, so that you know how to do them. Because if, like you said, you're not going to want to turn anybody away
Mhm.
just because they don't fit your niche.
Right. Yeah.
You know, uh, you're not going to go to Walmart and they're going to say, nope, you're not the kind of client we want,
Right.
and they're going to turn you away from buying some bananas. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's not going to happen.
Right.
So, um, definitely not what we want to do. So,
Mhm. Yeah, especially when you've got a revenue goal that you want to achieve. And if you get several clients come to you that's outside of that niche, it's hard to want to turn them away.
right.
Yeah.
Right. But also it's kind of hard when you're trying to learn everything about one specific niche,
Mhm.
right? But yet you don't have a lot of clients in that niche.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you
So,
definitely need several to know for sure
yeah,
how you can streamline it all for them and
yeah,
provide more value by the more you have of that particular type of industry, the more value you can provide to each individual client by taking your experiences working with each different one and being able to pull it all together.
yeah.
Hmm. Yep. So I would love to be able to highlight you, help you get clients. So who would be, if you're in your BNI meeting, who's your ideal client that you are looking for right now?
My ideal client now is anyone service-based. I prefer not to deal with a lot of inventory kind of clients.
Mhm.
I prefer more of the service-based, going and just running, going and helping somebody and then you're done.
Mhm.
Or, I do like the real estate industry.
Mhm.
So I'm looking to get some more realtors and brokers.
Awesome.
Um, that is really, I like those people. They're easygoing. But I also like the tradesmen because I can talk to them. They're no nonsense. They're just bottom line, just do this, get it done. Here's your answers, and let's move on.
Yeah,
They,
I love that.
so those are the two, contractors, tradesmen, and really the real estate brokers are really kind of where I'm trying to navigate towards.
Mhm.
But anyone that needs help. I mean, I truly, when I got into this, I was just trying to do something on the side that I thought would just pay off some debt. And I didn't realize how much we actually help business owners.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I've always been that person to help people, but help them in the back, right? Which is kind of what we do. We don't get the glory for saving them, $100,000 in duplicate income, overstated income, because they have duplicate,
Mhm.
charges or, sales, whatever. So seeing that we're able to help them, it's like, wow. Or even, deductions and just educating them,
Mhm.
the stuff that they don't know, that they hear so-and-so tell them, that isn't true, right? Oh, you can deduct all of this. You can deduct that. You can do this
Yeah, they get the bad advice a lot.
a lot.
Mhm.
So I think, that's what I really am enjoying is
Mhm.
helping and finding those little things, whether it's fraud or overstated income, duplicated, income, whatever it may be, some assets they never put on their books. Um, those big things that really are going to impact their business. I truly just enjoy
Yeah.
finding it. I don't know if that's,
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. It's great. It's one thing I loved about having a bookkeeping business too, is just to be able to help people and feel that satisfaction that they have a big sigh of relief when you come on board. People are always worried about like, well, how can I charge this kind of money for it? But most of the time they don't care. They're just like, oh, thank you so much for taking this burden off of me.
right. I mean, I talked to a guy at the networking for the real estate company, and he's like, I haven't filed taxes since 17.
Mm.
And I'm like, what? Right.
Yeah.
Can you say that again? Because I don't think I heard you. But he's like, if I just put it out of my mind, then it goes away, right?
Mhm. For now.
And right, like, you haven't got any letters yet, like you haven't
Yeah.
been penalized yet. So, but yeah, those are the things you don't think about, that you're helping with. So,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what kind of words of encouragement would you have for some of the newer people that are just starting the academy, just starting their journey as a business owner? What would you say to them if they were kind of similar to you in the beginning?
I would say stick it out. Make sure that you have a game plan to get your mindset right from the beginning. Work on the mindset first, then work on setting up your business, then work on learning the business. And I think, mindset should be the number one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and truly, if you don't put in the work, you're not going to see the results.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have the right mindset to put in the work, to stay up until, all hours to get something done for a client, and what it's going to take because you had your little one all day. It happens, right? We have families, and knowing that, okay, as tired as I am, I still need to put in a couple hours into my business tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get your mindset right and get past that and put the work in, because it's not just going to come to you. It's,
Yeah.
it's just, and I think, we hear these success stories and it's like, we just, I listened to, Ed Milet today, and it was one of the things he was talking about in this podcast was exactly that, right? You hear people's success stories, but you don't hear how they got there, how hard they had to work to get there, and what time they put into it. So we can all be successful and hear the stories, but for you to be successful, you could have put in 80 hours at the beginning of your business a week to get it to where you wanted to. And nobody would know that, right? Because that's not something we talk about. Not saying that you did or didn't, but
yeah, there were definitely times.
Right. So we do what we have to, what we see, and sometimes it's okay to have one of those days where you don't do anything. But just remember that you're probably going to pay for it later when you have those goals that you want to reach.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. I love that. Great advice. What about for people watching that are on the fence about joining the academy and starting this business? What would you say to them?
I would say that just know the money you spend for the academy will be returned to you and then some. It seems like it seems like a large investment in yourself, right? On something that you're scared you're going to fail at. But if you don't invest in yourself, you're never going to be able to succeed the way you could. And having, the academy and having people answer questions, and sometimes it's stupid questions, or you've just burned out because you've been working all day. Sometimes you have those and you just get a brain block, right? But it's nice to have those people. And truly, I have some friends that I've met through the academy. Like we talk outside the academy, and building some relationships, and they're all over the country. And that's, I think, you build those relationships because you all have something in common, right? You're all striving to be better, to better yourself, to run a business, to help your clients. So you all have the common denominator. So, honestly, I think invest in yourself. That's my highest recommendation is, you can't get the support unless, you're not going to be able to learn it all. So having the background and the people behind you is worth every dime.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing all of your experiences, and this is going to be really helpful for people in the academy at every stage, and then also for people watching that aren't quite in there yet and are still considering doing this. So
I understand, because I watched every single video that was online when I was researching, and and now going back and seeing Casey, right, who is now a mentor. It's like, oh, wow, she was just starting out like the rest of us, right? We always forget, like I said, at one point everyone starts somewhere, right? Everyone was a beginner sometimes. So,
and Casey's video is so outdated. I mean, it's so much more now, which is cool, but it's still awesome though. It's still awesome.
Right. And so maybe that's what we need to do too, is update a mentor, that started from the bottom. And
don't worry, I'm going to bring Casey and Vanessa and all those ladies on here too.
That's awesome. Awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Okay. So last question is, if you decide to do a tropical mastermind with me, would you want to go by yourself or would you want to bring your spouse? Like a couples thing or a girls thing?
Sometimes I say my husband, other times he doesn't really understand. You know what I mean? I think I would prefer by myself.
Yeah.
If you're talking mastermind business stuff, I think nothing against my husband. He supported me 100% of the way. But sometimes I need some time away.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And would you like it in a one-on-one, small group, large group?
That doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I think any of that would be fun.
Okay.
Like,
awesome.
I like hanging with a bunch of different people. I like getting to know people, and everyone's background is so different. I would probably say, people, just because I remember when you guys I watched a couple videos, when you guys did a trip, was it last year?
Yeah,
The
and
year
Key West.
before. Okay. Yeah. And I love seeing you guys all sitting there, somebody had a baby, it was
Yeah.
like, this is awesome. Right. Like
Yeah.
it was just, it was just so real. And I
Mhm.
think that's what people need to see, is the realness.
Yeah, for sure. Is there any particular place that you would want to go? Because I love how I'm kind of restructuring my mastermind to be these destination things, because it'll allow us to all travel, but deduct it all as a business
Right.
expense.
Right.
So, where's your bucket list places that you want to go?
I just like the beach, so I am not particular. I'm a beach girl that can sit in the sand
That's
all day, a book
fantastic.
and a drink, and enjoy life.
That's awesome. I found some amazing places in Belize that they're literally on a private island. Like we'd have our own private
I
island.
think I've seen pictures. I think I've seen pictures. Yes.
So I need
Yes.
to get that in the works and get us booked at one of those places so we can.
That sounds perfect to me. Just let me know and I will put it on the calendar.
Awesome. I will keep you
I'll make
posted.
sure I get some back work to pay for it.
Yes, absolutely. Set some of this 30,000 aside.
Right. All right, Tiffany. I appreciate you. I appreciate the Academy. And I think, you're doing good things, and, if people trust the process, it'll all work out for them.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. And I appreciate you pushing past the hard feelings at the beginning and the hard times, because I know it's easy to give up. And it
Yeah.
takes a lot of strength and effort and courage to keep pushing past that to make it work. So this business wouldn't be possible if we didn't have people like you that push past all of that and show everyone else what really is possible. They can't just take my word for it. It's people like you that inspire everybody else to keep going and have all these amazing wins and successes as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'll let you go. And
Yes.
I'll be checking in on you.
I
Sometimes
appreciate it,
it's
Tiffany.
Casey, but I'm always checking in.
No, I appreciate it. All
All
right.
right. We'll talk
Enjoy
to you
your
later.
evening.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Tiffany.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to our interview. I just wanted to give you a quick update from Jen. I received a Facebook message from her a few days after our interview. And she said the next day after our interview on the 28th, one of my clients abruptly decided to do the books themselves. Ouch! I was pretty upset. However, within 12 hours, I signed another client with $4,000 in backwork. Then later that week, I signed another small client and had 2 more sales calls. Well, today, that client that left came back. Not only did he come back, I signed 2 more clients today with an additional amount of $6,000 in backwork. Right now, with nothing else, I am pacing to reach $120,000. I would have never dreamed it possible. Thank you for your program and making this possible for me. I just wanted to give you an update and say thank you. So guys, that's $20,000 in extra income that she found just after getting on the podcast interview. So you've got to do this. You've got to take the leap of faith. You got to do it. Go to our website so you can reach out to me on all the different ways that you can. StayAtHomeBookkeeper.com, and whatever channel you're listening on right now, please hit that like and subscribe button so you can get more of these awesome interviews.